your name?
I'm Kenny.
Hello, Kelly.
Nice to meet you.
What's this? What are you doing?
The casual questions.
All
Quite
right,
informal,
good.
if that's okay.
Yes, good. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, Griff, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
We're here. You've very recently just come off stage from the London Comedy Writers Festival where you've done your talk. How did you actually find that side of it?
No, I'm completely egotistical about everything I do. You see what I mean? So, as far as I'm concerned, it was only when I started, I thought, I don't know what I'm going to tell anybody, and then obviously I reached the end of my thing, and I'd only really done the introduction.
So it was improvised all of it then?
I'm not very good at preparing things, or actually sticking to a script. So although I had sort of thought of various things I needed to say, my preamble went on for nearly an hour. So I didn't really, I didn't get to the things I wanted to say, so I'll have to come back.
One of the main themes kind of came across was slogging away, working ridiculously hard.
Well, it's a very crowded business, and the truth is that there are very funny people who are, because it goes with the territory, who are incredibly lazy. I mean, if you can imagine that. I mean, I know many who are so funny, and then when you ask them to do a job, it becomes very tiresome because they're anarchists. That's what makes them funny. I mean, you know, the sort of dedication that goes with hard work doesn't seem to go hand in hand with the idea of being a funny guy, does it? I mean, a funny guy by nature is sitting in the pub with a pint of beer in front of him and a fag on, and that effectively is Peter Cook. Because Peter Cook's life was to spend his time gradually drinking, and even when you met him in his later life, his ideal environment was to be sitting with a group of people, making them roar with laughter. That's what he wanted to do. And so that's one John Cleese said, he can cut it off by the yard, Peter Cook, you know, when he worked himself up, and off he'd go, and he was just a hilarious improviser. But he didn't like to get into a formal structure, a work structure. A work structure was not what he signed up to do. And so Peter, in effect, was never going to easily put himself through the Protestant work ethic that goes hand in hand with actually making a career. Now, we're not all Peter Cooks. And so if you're not Peter Cook and you can't survive on a sort of improvisatory Paul Merton type thing, then you're going to have to replace it with slog, because slog is the only way you're going to feed through it. So it's quite possible for sloggers to triumph over funny guys in this business.
Are you still hard working now?
Yes, I am, but not in comedy.
And you don't write at all anymore? Or?
No, I wrote it for 30 years. I've had enough of it. I don't want to. I'm a happy man now.
Do you ever occasionally get there? Oh, well, that's a funny joke.
That would make a funny sketch. Yeah, of course, yeah. Coming here, I thought, I know what we'll do. This is one of the things I was planning to do. Why don't we write a sketch show right here? Let's start with the beginning. Let's spend 4.5 days discussing the title. But we didn't have 4.5 days, so I never got round to it. So I did begin to think about. I did begin to think that there's possibly a sketch show made about a convention or a meeting or a sitcom made about this sort of, not this world, but the world of sort of meetings and people addressing things. No doubt. And we could sit down and we could work it up. But luckily we never got round to that. And now I can walk off into the sunset and not have to think about comedy again.
Ever again. In terms of internet comedy and stuff like that, and the way everything's going,
I don't know anything about internet comedy.
No.
I don't. I think it's childish to watch things on YouTube. It's just people falling over, isn't it?
Oh, it's getting a bit better than that.
Oh,
now.
is it? Okay. It seems to me that when I last watched it seems to be part of the feckless generation to sit there and just sort of and snigger at things falling over the sides of buildings and whatever, and cute animals, you know.
So lazy people now with hands on cameras.
Well, I mean, since everything can be filmed, but what it is at some point a changing scene, and that scene will change, and the internet indubitably will be a new medium. But I think with things like The Onion, with things like YouTube, there is a way for comedy to find new outlets, and people will find it. For some reason, human beings are invariably drawn to what's funny. And so everybody sitting out here thinking, can I learn to be a comic? I mean, in a way, if you are funny and you're doing funny things, it's surprising how quickly people will beat a path to your door. So it's a question of keeping a writer or even a performer, knocking about, trying to find a way. Most comedy performers, great, even the big ones like Jack Dee, say there was a sort of moment where they suddenly realised what they were doing wrong or what they were doing right or how they could do it. And I'm sure the same is true for Alexei Sayle. It's probably true for Harry Hill. It's probably true for Paul Merton. There was a moment where the persona, the things, the attitude they had began to fit together, and they became a funny guy as opposed to just somebody who told funny things.
Which is their own personal development, I suppose, as a comic.
Yeah, but it's an act, you see. I mean, there are two things in any comic structure. One is the material and the other is the act. And the act, the one without the other, is pretty complicated.
Well, Griff, thank you very much for talking to us, and
Pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.